Welcome to this week's deep dive. This week we have Mandi Rudd from Brand Energy Marketing. Welcome, Mandi.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, we're so excited. You're one of our new members for Promo Chat. So it was a lot of fun to sort of see you jump in and join us. And then this week as well, our topic was very popular and had a lot of response, and we loved your answers to it.
Well, thank you. There were a lot of great ones that I read that were really funny and fun. Yeah, no, there were some great answers.
It was interesting. So, because what we talked about this week was professional persona and how you navigate your online life versus your in real life life. And so we kind of talked about identity and professionalism and all the things that go with that. So we had our question as, how do you choose what to filter when online? Do you have set standards or guideposts? Or are you more of a go with the gut sort of person? And you came back with sarcasm and intonation. Get lost in text and writing. If it reads weird, edit. If you're fired up, don't hit send. Don't engage in political chat. More vids of puppies and baby elephants learning to use their trunks. Real life stuff. Work, kids, food, music. Silliness. So, a lot there. Should we talk about the Iowa caucuses, yes or no?
Right? Oh my gosh. That's a whole other conversation.
Well, okay, so you said to avoid political chat, so we'll do that.
Right.
It's so interesting now, though, is that I find everyone keeps telling you have to be authentic, you have to be there, but it's a little more fiery out there, so you have to be more protective of who you are, but you're totally right. So how do you sort of, when you're encountering the fired upness and everything else, what is your approach in kind of doing this? Because for you tweet from an account that's yours, that's Mandi Rudd, versus a situation like mine where people know it's me, but it's still Claremont Limited, or accounts like Alpha Brodo, Sanmar, all those brand name accounts versus the personal ones. So how do you kind of navigate that for you?
It's interesting. I have always managed until really the last year to keep personal and business accounts completely separate. I don't know that there was a scientific reason behind it or anything that was very well thought out. I just figured my personal life is really, it's my dog, my puppy, my son. It's cool things I've done. It's just ridiculous things I've seen online that entertain me, like the videos of elephants learning to use their trunks. There's just nothing cuter. But recently, I've really started engaging more on my business side, on the business site, and bringing those two together. And I think it's because there is this perfect marriage between your personal life and your business life, in that it's who you are. And as a distributor, I am my brand. And so I try and keep it real. I try and keep it honest. I try and keep it kind. And that's the biggest thing, is being kind. And when you engage in political conversations, you can make a very well thought out point in a very graceful way, but someone somewhere is always going to be upset by it. So I found I just stay away from it completely, both personally and professionally.
Yeah, online. Kind of make it a safe place kind of thing. And
sure, no one's going to my site to hear what I think about politics, just as no one's going to go to the Brand Energy Marketing site for that reason. And I think more importantly, if I say something personally on my personal page that might be deemed offensive to some, they might not want to work with me. And so I just have chosen to remove that completely.
Yeah. And it is one of those, like, again, you want to have an authentic voice, but I think my favorite, I forgot who said this, but it's like, just put good out into the world. It's probably like Lin-Manuel Miranda, or like because he's just such a happy person.
Right.
But I actually think it is him, because he talks a lot about putting positivity out there, and that if you are upset with your timeline and everything else not being a good place, then it's on you to start to make it a good place. So I kind of like your approach of being very positive and doing all that. So, and baby elephants are kind of a no-fail.
And no matter what you think, or no matter what someone else thinks that differs from you, I don't really want to engage in trying to change anyone's mind. We're all entitled to our own opinions and our own positions. And if we can be kind and graceful and offer grace to those who might have had a bad moment, and just put a little more joy out in the world and just be nice. And so I just tend to stay away from anything like that, that could be misconstrued as anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and you kind of said that, like, offer grace to someone is that, you know, tying business and personal can be a really complicated thing, especially if you ever need to remove yourself from the brand in a certain way, whether you've grown so big that someone else is taking it over. And so for you, I would say, like, or this is for everyone, but relationships are such a large part of business. So when you're trying to, like, put yourself out there, what would be your top tips for building a relationship online? Like, is it just purely connection, or what are yours on, like, sort of, or if someone kind of tries to connect with you and they are that opposite of you, they're on the other side of the spectrum, they're on the, they don't think baby elephants are worth it.
Right, right. When it comes to the business and personal combined and marrying those two worlds, for the longest time, I did not really have any of my clients or anyone related to work that wasn't a friend first. So I do a lot of my clients are my personal friends that I've known over the years or personal connections. But any clients or suppliers or businesses, I really kept them completely off of my friendship list on my personal page. Like I said, in the last year, I've really married the two so that this is just me, the good, the bad, and the ugly. This is just who I am. And I will bore you through pictures of, my favorite person on the planet, my child. I'll probably overpost pictures of Katie or little baby elephant videos, and Katie's my little puppy. But as far as how those two mix, I think, the art of persuasion is not getting someone to agree with you. It's getting them to understand your perspective. And I am not on social media to try and change the world. I'm just out there for a little minute of a distraction, and I would love to see pictures of someone's vacation. I'd love to see pictures of someone else's child or their dog. Excuse me. But also to learn something. So if I can get some kind of education, or if I'm listening to a blog that's work related or reading something like that, that to me is why I go there. So I'm not out there to change the world in that way, and I don't expect mine to be changed because of it.
So when you started blending in when you started adding, like, industry friends and colleagues and everything on your personal Facebook, did you find that it changed your business relationships with them? Like, was there an effect to that, or was it just getting new friends?
Absolutely saw a change. I mean, I am a solopreneur. I'm a sole distributorship. So, my coworkers have four legs in my immediate office. So my supplier partners and my regional board association members, and so being able to communicate with people outside of those specific events has really grown relationships. It's grown my business. It's just grown the ability to collaborate. And so doing that through social media has allowed me also to, when I do see them, like at Expo or at other things, it's like I already feel like I know you, and I'm so thankful we're a very huggable industry, because it's it's like everybody already, even though you've actually never met outside of a screen, right?
Yeah.
And so being able to give someone a hug when you meet them, it's like, oh my gosh, and that great thing you did with sheetrocking your bathroom or whatever project or whatever thing they were doing, being able to have that connection and having that personal connection, I think helps professionally, and just it's joyful to know something about someone that you meet.
Yeah. And I totally agree with you on that. Is like, there's having your, like, I find Facebook is like, I've made so many amazing friends in this industry. And then some of them I hadn't even met in person. We'd had conversations like this, and it kind of, it allows you to skip those get to know you steps, because you want to make sure that Facebook doesn't replace friendship, that there's
Right.
actual connection going on,
Right.
rather than, like, I know what's going on in your life. But it is really interesting how something like that can kind of deepen things. But again, everyone is very protective of their lives, and so maybe not everything you see on Facebook is their true life, but it is really interesting seeing people who are comfortable with it, or share it, or even ones who are like, these are my politics, this is what I'm going to talk about. And
Right. And the greatest piece of advice is it's like Costco or wholesale shopping. Just because one can does not mean one should. So
yes.
you can read a political post that you might disagree with, but guess what? You can keep scrolling and not have to comment on it. And it doesn't necessarily even just have to be about politics. I know you seem to have, it's a very heated world we live in right now as it relates to that. But even other things, it could be on the promotional products professionals page on Facebook, I know that's always heated if someone doesn't ask the question or the request the information the right way.
Yeah.
It doesn't reply with, hey, thanks everyone, I got it. You don't have to comment and call someone out on it. Just scroll by.
Yeah. Sometimes it's okay to walk away. It's like you said, where it's like, if you're fired up, don't hit send. It's like, just because you think that's, people need to hear your opinion, like, be okay with it. But
that's when it comes to an email or leaving a voice message, or which those are harder to delete. But but obviously when it comes to sending an email, I mean, we've all been fired up and just, taken to the keyboard to get your thoughts out. By all means, write it, get it out there, and save it as a draft. That is if I could impart wisdom to anyone, it's save that stuff for a draft.
Put their email address in there, just delete it out of the to-line too, just in case.
You'll get it off your chest, you feel better that it's out there, but you don't actually have to send it to anybody. And I think a lot of that comes from the fact that I have a middle schooler who is has his own phone and recently has a social media account and or Snapchat or whatever. I don't do any of that, but I know enough about it to know I don't like it. But my advice to him has been, whatever you put out there in this world, it will stay out there forever. So no matter what you send, here's the litmus test. Are you okay with anyone else's parents reading it? Would you be okay if your teacher read it? And if someone tells you something in confidence, that's for your eyes only. You don't share that.
Yeah.
So I think that actually can work well in the professional world too. Once you put it out there, it's out there. And that can identify you. It can pigeonhole you. It can hurt you. It can also help you depending on what the topic is. But it all comes back to be kind, be graceful, offer grace, and be genuine and be humble. And I think that helps in many, many worlds, I guess. Personal, professional,
and
middle school.
Especially being a middle schooler nowadays would just be so frightening.
They don't have the luxury, and I'm going to date myself here with my age, but they don't have the luxury of those folded notes and the anticipation of handing it to somebody in the hall, texting, and no personal connection. It just drives me nuts. So we have phone rules that he doesn't like.
I think everyone wants to respond so quickly that they don't think about, like with rules for your son, it's like, would you say this to someone's face? Like, would you angrily, like if you had to take what you were angrily writing and say it to someone's face, like, would you do that? Or my dad calls those letters that you save in your draft thing, the overnight ones, where you just write them, take the night. And if the next day that you still really need to say that, then maybe it's important. But if you're like, ooh, really glad I had that glass of wine last night.
You have the time to edit it.
Yes.
To where maybe it's not as so heated and frenetic and just vomiting out all the frustrations you had on paper. Take the time to edit it. You can make your point in a much more, a calmer heads prevail sort of way. And you might actually have resolution that would be helpful on both sides, as opposed to just pointing your finger and, yelling.
Yeah. So, no, I love it. Our advice is,
I like it.
Yeah. Our advice is take a breath, be nice, and be graceful.
Love it. Great words to live by. We could all live like Mr. Rogers taught us. That would be.
Try and make Mr. Rogers proud, basically. Just go out and make him proud.
Yes.
Well, wonderful. Mandi, thank you so much for joining us. And where can we find you on the internet?
On the internet, I am at brandenergymarketing.com. And then we've got a brand energy marketing page on Facebook. I don't have a business Instagram page because sadly it's one more thing to manage. So I'm old school. I'm still on Facebook for work.
That's perfect. Facebook works then.
Yeah.
Well, perfect. And thank you. And thank you to our sponsors, Maple Ridge Farms, for being wonderful partners with us. And remember, everyone, just follow along in the hashtag every Wednesday at noon Pacific and 3 p.m. Eastern time. Take care.
Thank you.